Good morning, YouTube. Good afternoon, YouTube. I'm a little behind. I feel like I'm trying to get a cold or something. I just been feeling blah. But I said I wasn't gonna let this day go by. I already let the 2 days go by. What I'm gonna start doing is like pre-recording and scheduling them to just drop. Just sit here when I'm sitting here and just talking or whatever. Cause when I don't be feeling good, I just be wanting to lay around. That's all I be wanting to do, which may not be good, but that's what I be wanting to do. But today we're gonna start out with relationship one. Um, it's a lot of relationships. I mean, not like long term relationships, but it's like a lot of love relationships, little flings and things. And I'll talk about some of them briefly, but a lot of them have to do with me doing things because I, I guess I felt like because I was a plus size, no one wanted me. So because of that, I was doing stuff and it made me feel like people liked me if they even gave me the littlest attention. You know what I'm saying? So sex was kind of one of those things. Like if they want to have sex with me, then they like me or whatever. But nothing ever comes of it. And then again, my ego is now not stroked again. I'm sorry, y'all. This hair is everything nerve wracking. Okay. Um, but which one of these relationships I want to talk about? I ain't gonna do them in no orders or nothing. Um, okay, so I moved from Chicago and then I moved to Milwaukee and I lived in Milwaukee for 10 years. Mind you, the first 8 of those years, I was with a female. And she actually came to Milwaukee with me. We both came from Chicago. And let me tell y'all how that transpired. So when me and her first got together, I was on this thing. Back in the day, they didn't have like dating websites. They just had like the chat lines, the party chat lines. And you met people on there, you got in groups and you talked in groups or however you wanted to do it. You know what I'm saying? It was all up to you. However you wanted to talk to people and meet people and greet with people, that's how you did it. Okay. So back in my days, that's what we had. Back in my younger days, that's what we had. Compared to now, you got video chat where you could see people, and back then we had to literally go see the people in person. It wasn't no seeing them on video chat and then getting safe with them, and no, it was clearly just talking to a person on the phone. And however you felt about this person on the phone is what you got. And then if they came and seen you and you didn't like what you seen, then that was too bad. That was too bad. Um, so I went through my rounds of meeting people and um, essayed, and it was funny because I got essayed by the same person, and I just knew it was two different people. Yep, and it was by the same person, and he did it if his mother was home. He did it if his mother wasn't home. To this day, I cannot remember his name. I do remember him ripping my clothes off. I had on like a little leotard because one of the times I went over there, it was a Sunday, and we had just left church, and I had wore what I wore to church. to church. I had wore that over there. And back then in Chicago, we had like not video. We didn't have Uber and that type of thing. We had just regular what do you want to call it? Little regular cabs. They be cars. Let me see. It would be like Uber, but they're like personal. Um, okay, sorry guys. Um, let me pull it down like this so y'all can see me. Okay, they had personal cabs. We called them livery cabs. That's what we called them. But anyway, I met her on that site and we literally talked for 24 hours. Now, at the time when I met her, I was going through a struggle with my baby daddy. And I didn't start out with my baby daddy story because it wasn't it was it was horrible. I mean, so okay, look, me and my baby daddy met at church, okay? Remember, my mom died when I was 9. So his family was already going to the church when I started going to the church. Okay. And we became like, I guess you want to just call it like kissing buddies or just kids being kids, going in the basement of the church like they got to use the bathroom and, talking about the day before and what went on and, just getting out of service because we really didn't want to be there. We wanted to be at home. But anyway, I called it the little puppy love. And we grew up together. We grew up together. And he was so nice. Like when he first met me, he was more on like the chubby side. And then um as we got older, he began to lose the weight. And I was crazy about him. I was crazy about him. And he was like my getaway person from the first abusive relationship that I was in because one lived on one side of the town and the other one lived on the other side of the town. One lived on the west side, one lived on the south side. So when the south side thing was, in the midst of winding down and I was beginning to just 17, 18, you know what I'm saying, get up there in age where I can just come and go as I please because I left my legal guardian's house when I was 17. And it was no more like sneaking to go see him or, because I was sneak and go see him. I was sneak and go see him. And she wouldn't know where I was at. I don't even know if she cared where I was at because I don't even ever remember like her asking like where you been or where was you at or and I done spent nights and never just returned back to the house. I don't know, I started doing that when I was 16. And so I mean we grew up together and me and his cousin became best friends. I do call her my sister now. Yeah, she's been knowing me since I was 9. So yeah, she's my sister. Yeah. And so why would somebody be at my door? I'm gonna press mute because I don't want to yell in y'all ear. I don't answer the door for people that's not invited. Okay. Anyway, um, so seeing him, she was my getaway to see him, if that makes sense. She was my getaway. So I would say I'm going to see her, but I'm really going to spend time with him. Now listen, y'all, the whole time we was, calling ourselves being in a relationship or whatever the case may be, he always had other girlfriends. It has never just been me and him, ever. Even when I thought it wasn't. So it was like I always accepted him back, though. You know what I mean? Like I always accepted him back, even knowing like he'd go outside. And once upon a time, I had moved out there. Y'all, this was some of the worst living that I have ever been in. I never thought that I would be in a situation such as this one, but I just didn't want to be at home. I didn't want to be at home with the legal guardian. I didn't want to be at home with the legal guardian's children. I did not want to have all that pressure on me as far as my nephews and nieces and brothers went. I was just overwhelmed and I was just tired. So I did some things that I hated, you know, which was like living in an apartment with my sister. She was there with me and another one of our friends, and we used to party and stuff. I remember she gave me my 17th birthday party, and the police came in there and slapped people around, and it was crazy, y'all. It was crazy. People was, you know, having SCX on um, my bed and releasing themselves on my floor. It was a lot. It was a lot. But the house didn't have like water, lights, heat. Um, so we really couldn't like flush the toilet. We'd have to like go upstairs to my godmama house and use the bathroom, or go to my auntie house and use the bathroom, or however we found a way, because we was all in the same vicinity or whatever, the same buildings. And yeah, I literally watched. Y'all might think this is not true, but I literally watched like 2 rats like toss a Snicker up in the air. I had it in my bag. I never forget it. It was a green Gatorade bag. It was zipped up, and I'm gonna tell you where I got the bag from. When I was living in that girl's home, I had went to a Bulls basketball game, and they gave us those bags, and it had little things like Gatorades and the little the sippy cups or whatever. and it had all that stuff in it. And I was using mine for a junk bag. So this is where I would keep like my chips, my cakes, my candy, or whatever the case may be, so that first of all, people wouldn't eat them. And then second of all, because the bag was zipped, I thought, well, no critters get to it. But unfortunately, I was wrong, and people don't know the power of a critter because they didn't eat through that bag. They unzipped that bag and literally brung a king size sneaker out in the middle of the floor because they were not scared of anything or anybody. And they was literally throwing this sneaker up. I was so scared to get out the bed. I was so scared to get out the bed. And at the time I was supposed to be with my baby daddy at the time. But he slept in the room across from me, unless, he wanted to have sex. If he did, we did. And then he'll go back to that bed. And I in a way I felt it was painful, but I guess I wanted him so bad. Um I dealt with whatever I had to deal with. Again, um verbal abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse all played a part in those decisions. Body shaming, um, being hard on me, on myself, being my worst critic and my hardest critic, and judgment of me, you know, and it caused me to make some unwise decisions and do unwise things for people that then feel the same or care to do the same for me. You know what I mean? So it was it was hard, but after a while, unfortunately, after a while, I got used to it. And girlfriends started coming over to the house, and um, I used to smoke back then. They used to ask me for cigarettes. We'll be sitting in the living room talking, and he wouldn't be there. You know what I mean? He wouldn't be there. And at the time, me and him would sleep in the same room. We would sleep in the same room. They wouldn't spend a night or nothing, but it just wasn't no respect as far as me. It was just like everybody knew he made everybody feel like he wasn't gonna never be with me. Um, but then on the other hand, he made me feel like I was the only one in his life. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like the abuse and then being rewarded with something after it to make them feel like they correcting the issue by treating you nice after they've done what they've done, and the sorries and and they don't mean it because they're gonna do it again, you know and I stick around until they do it again. Yes, stupid. But I went along with it, and we seen him one day, and then we couldn't find him no more after that. And come to find out, he was incarcerated. And I took my baby, our baby, the oldest girl, to see him. It was his first time seeing her. Because remember, I was pregnant for 4 months with her, and I didn't know. So in the midst of that 4 months, he had got locked up. I forgot what he did, but he had got locked up, and he was in jail for like 2 or 3 years because she was up and walking and doing everything. Like when he came home, he used to send her like books home, and he was saying like I guess that was like recording books, and he would be recording himself reading the books so she can hear his voice or whatever. And he would call, and then when he got home, I was living with my dad, and he called me, told me he was home. And I told him, okay, I was on my way. I packed up my baby and we went to his dad's house. Yeah, I didn't know I was finna move in. No, he went back home with me um, to get clothes so that I could wash because I needed to wash clothes. And his dad had a washer and dryer at home. So he was washing the clothes, and I'm thinking as he washing the clothes, they're going to go back in the bag, and then me and my baby was going to go back home. He washed, and then he started putting my stuff in drawers. Oh, so we staying? You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't ask me, did I want to stay? You didn't ask, was we going to, try to work this out? No, none of that. Because while you was incarcerated, I wasn't just sitting back chilling. Like, I was talking to other people. It was a person there with me the whole time. I was in the hospital. The whole time my baby was in the hospital. Because remember, she was premature. So this other person used to sit up at the hospital with me. You know what I'm saying? He would go up there when I couldn't go up there, and he'll stay with her all night. You know what I'm saying? It was like we would take turns, when it was needed. You know what I'm saying? But I never confirmed that we was gonna be together like that again, because I never imagined myself going back to that relationship. Um, it was crazy. It was crazy. So he get out. I maybe like 2. He get out on um he get out on house arrest, right? Now this is second time going back. This is second time going back. And he get out on house arrest. Now the baby is 2. So he get out on house arrest, right? By this time, I left his dad's house and I moved back on the west side. Okay. So me and my baby living on the west side. His sister was about to get married. Um, and then a grandmother had passed away and everybody was going. I couldn't go because I didn't want to take my baby. He couldn't go because he was on house arrest. So the question is why couldn't he take the baby and you go? Well, because what I didn't know was he was on house arrest at another girl's house that was pregnant. Said the baby was his. It was a little boy, and he didn't want to have nothing to do with my baby. So he didn't want my baby around this baby and this girl. And it was weird to me because normally that it's like the lady, the girl, the baby mama that don't want the girlfriend. I wasn't like that. I never was like that. Ever. Because when we was apart, I never expected him to be single. to be in his kid's life. No, I wouldn't dare do that. I don't care. Listen, as long as you don't let nobody put their hands on my children, we okay. We okay. They don't need to come home with bruises. They don't need to come home acting like they scared to go back. They don't need to none of that. None of that. And they never did. And they never did. You know what I'm saying? And another thing I never want done is them putting their hands in my girl's head. Because I was the only one. And I'm still to this day the only one that put my hand in their heads. But it wasn't nothing that I can do. It just was what it was. You know what I mean? It was what it was. So in the meantime, I'm trying to think where I stayed at. I think me and my baby went to my auntie house until they got back. Because I wasn't finna stay out there by myself yet. So I went to my auntie's house, and that's where I stayed. And she was so crazy. She was crazy about my baby. She's no longer here with us, but she was crazy about my baby. She was crazy about my baby. She's the one who actually told me that I was pregnant because I said some crazy stuff to her, like go suck, pause, pee, you. Yeah. It was stupid because she was like, girl, yeah, you pregnant. You crazy. But you say it to me. So I said it back. Mind you, I'm 20. I'm grown. Like, don't do that. I'm telling you, I'm irritated. I didn't know why I was irritated, but I was irritated. You know what I'm saying? And she was like, yeah, you pregnant. But so from that point on, he wasn't around. So I miss that lady. But anyway, at the okay, so we move into his dad's house, and I guess his dad was under the impression that we had made some type of deal that I would pay rent and buy the food for the house. And that wasn't never discussed with me. Because I feel like your son moved me in here. So you need to be on your son about paying for anything. Because I'm the last person you should be asking to move. I mean to pay anything. You know what I'm saying? You need to talk to your son. And then your son can talk to me about it. And maybe we can come together on one accord and figure it out. But I wasn't just finna be paying. Not only was I just finna be paying, and I got my own daddy house I can go to, but this man got to asking for my whole check, not just a little of the check. He was asking for the whole check for a one. I was in one room. Me and my children was in one room. Okay? We was in one room. We fitted a crib, a toddler bed, and the big bed, the dresser, the TV. You know what I'm saying? Like all that fitted in this room. And this is where we stayed. This is where everything was at. Everything except for what needed to go in the freezer and refrigerator. You know? So I wasn't finna pay you my whole, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, I'm not doing that. And at the time, because I'm so young, I was getting food stamps and I was getting cash. You know what I'm saying? And I helped his son by putting his son on my case. When I put his son on my case, it forced me to have to go out and work, but at least he was going through some type of training so that he could get a job. And he couldn't even complete that. I mean, he completed that task. He did. And when he was done, he was in the midst of looking for a job, but I was already working. So if I'm already working, then what is the purpose of the kids still being in daycare? Like you hanging out on the block and the kids is down the street literally on the corner at daycare. Why can't you just go pick the kids up? Like, why do they even have to go there? It was a waste of money. But that was neither here nor there. People think about their own self. And what happened was I had a client because I was doing home health care. And I had a client, and I never forget this client. And she was so sweet to me. Her family was so sweet to me. I went to work one day, and she didn't make it through the night, y'all. And that crushed me so bad. Like, I literally had to take a break. And when I tried to go back, it was just like, I can't, because I don't want to get attached to those people, especially when all my clients was hospice. So it was just a waiting process. But how do you detach yourself from that? That's hard. It's hard, because if you're there with these people every single day up until that day, yeah, that's hard on you. It's hard on you. You know what I'm saying? So I never did go back. But he had found a good job, and he was working this good job, right? And I was working my job until I wasn't working my job anymore. But he was real, wishy-washy with his money. Like, when we both was working, he wouldn't spend none of his money on smoke or drink or none of that. And those are things that we did together. But he wouldn't pay for nothing. Like, his money was his money, and it was all for him. And my money was for me, the kids, and him, and the house. And it went on for a long time. And then it was just like, I'm just gonna go home. Like, I just want to go home. And um, what really forced me to go home was his dad whooped my baby. Oh, nah, we don't do those. We don't do those. No man hit no girl. No, I don't. They daddy couldn't even whip them. I didn't play that. Don't put your hands on my daughters. I know when my daughter's feeling like that's okay. I had a way about that stuff, because him too has put his hands on me, pregnant and all. You know what I'm saying? He has put his hands on me. You know what I'm saying? He has been extremely verbally abusive to me. So yeah, and I feel about you about like I feel about previous. You ain't no different. I've known you the longest, and you prove to be not different. You're not different. So no, you can't hit my kids. Now, I whoop them. You can tell them, but don't put your hands on my kids. Don't put your hands on my kids. I'm not with that. I'm not with that at all. So when his dad did it to my oldest daughter, yep, had my daddy get a truck. My daddy pulled up in the back. I started loading my stuff up, and baby daddy loaded his stuff up too, and came right along with me. So I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe now things get better, because now you on my turf. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to speak up. You know what I'm saying? My daddy house. I'm going to speak up in my daddy house. You know what I'm saying? Like, my dad knew what was going on as far as him coming to the house. My dad knew what was going to be done. My dad knew, he needed to tell me what rent we needed to pay, or what he expected. He knew all of that, because I spoke it over with my daddy like he was supposed to. Because his daddy didn't even know I was moving in, just like I didn't know I was moving in. He just moved us in. Okay. On top of all of that, I was real heavy in church, and I was supposed to go to church this Sunday morning. I ain't gonna never forget this, y'all. We left out together on Saturday. Okay. He went his way, I went my way. The purpose the goal was for us to meet back at home at a certain time. I want to say 11. It was 11 or 12. We were supposed to meet up back home, and that was it, right? So we in our separate places. We doing whatever we doing. I'm home earlier than I'm supposed to be, and he's not. So okay, I ain't gonna bother him because this the time that we set. So when it become after 12, then okay, I start thinking or reaching out or whatever. So I fell asleep. I was tired. I fell asleep. And when I woke up in the morning to go to church, nobody was there. So I waited all day, all day, all day. I wasn't going to church until I heard from him. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what could have happened. I didn't know nothing. I didn't know nothing. So it was about 2 or 3. And he came strolling on in the house. Y'all, I couldn't even say nothing. I just looked. And you know why I just looked? Because this is the type of stuff that I'm used to dealing with. Like, I didn't build the skin to just go with the flow. I just go with the mistreatment and the controlling and I go with it. And when he came in the house, I didn't say anything. I was stuck, you know. And he was talking to me and I was talking and we was laughing. And I just bust out and was like, so where you been? And he was like, I was sitting outside in the van. In the van? Yeah, I was drinking and I fell asleep. Okay. So I didn't have no other choice but to go with the explanation because I couldn't think of nothing else. You know what I'm saying? I could not fathom that he was cheating on me. We were so past this. Like, we got a whole family now. Like, you absolutely not doing this. You're not doing this. You actually just fell asleep in the van. Seriously, you fell asleep in the van. So he get in the bed. And you know how you would like lay on your lay on your back and you will prop one foot up on the other foot like that. And he did that. And I kept saying, okay, so where you been again? So where you been again? He kept saying the same thing, the same lie. Now I know he lying because it's all type of splatters of blood on his boxers. So you gonna keep lying, telling me you was in a van? Where was you at? Who was you with? He wouldn't tell the truth. So I said, okay, so look at your boxers. So he looked at his boxers and he was more shocked than I was. It's about, whoa. I said, what you mean, whoa? You still lying. Man, that stuff went so bad, y'all. So quick. It went so bad, so quick. He began to tell me how she was worth it. It felt good. She was better than me because she didn't get food stamps, and she really did get food stamps. But anyway, anything to make me feel like she was better than me and it was worth it. Because see, remember I said earlier, I never confirmed that we was back in a relationship. I thought I was going to his dad's house to wash him, for him to wash our clothes. I didn't know I was going to move in. he never gave me that memo. You know what I'm saying? So it just became this whole awkwardness now. You know what I'm saying? We never ever, when we slept in the bed together, we never ever slept at the same foot of the bed. We never shared the same covers. We never touched each other. It wasn't that type of relationship anyway. But it's what he wanted because that's what he did. That's what he asked for. You know what I'm saying? Well, that ain't even what he initiated that. So this girl is better than me and he'll do it again. And you know what I'm saying? He didn't want no more kids with me. It was a lot. It was a more of, you ain't the woman that I want. She more of the woman that I want. So, I said, so what? You had sex with her until she came on, or you broke her virginity? Like what? And it was like she came on. Like, what? Are you serious? And you thought you was finna come lay up in the bed, y'all. But he only thought that because that's what he was used to. He was used to being able to go out and do what he want to do with other women and then come back and I still fall into place. You know what I'm saying? It was horrible. I was miserable. I was straight up miserable. I was. We would go places and we would get on a public bus. We wouldn't sit next to each other. He wouldn't sit next to me. If I went to the back of the bus thinking that's where he wanted to go, he would sit at the front, and he never sits at the front of the bus. I could never like walk on the side of him. He will always be in front of me. You know what I'm saying? And he'll be carrying one of the kids, and I'm pushing one of the kids. It was just a weird situation. It was weird to me. But that was my baby daddy. And could nobody tell me nothing about my baby daddy? I loved my baby daddy. I love my baby daddy. I'm not in love with my baby daddy. I would never get back in a relationship with my baby daddy. I wouldn't even talk to my baby daddy on the phone. My children has not even talked to this man in years. It's been years, and he know their phone numbers and everything. Now, he has sent text messages, but they get upset because he don't know how to spell their name. He'll call and wish them a happy, text them, wish them happy birthday. It's the other birthday than the one he wished happy birthday. Like, it's just all over the place. You know what I'm saying? So I never did like bad talk him or anything around my children. So the way my children feel about him is the way they feel about him because of what he did. It's not because of what I did. It's not because of what I did. But it's good that I told this story first because ultimately we did move to my dad's house. We was staying at my dad's house for a while, but he was still on the same stuff as far as helping pay bills, as far as helping take care of the kids, and yada yada yada. Now he will work nights, so I'm at home with the kids at night, but in the morning time, I'm at work. He at home. So we both working, but we both ain't pitching in and doing all this stuff. So of course I started stepping out and I just had resentment, you know what I'm saying? And it was one of those, I'm just tired of men. So I want to try something different. I wanted to try something different. So that's what I started doing. But I ain't got enough time to tell y'all about that one in this video because we're almost at our 45-minute mark. But yes, so that's the relationship with my baby daddy. And again, we eventually separated, broke up, however you want to put it. But we have been together in over 20 years. Yeah, my youngest is 23. And she was 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. 19. I left Chicago in 2002. She was like 1 when I left Chicago. She was 1 when I left Chicago. So it's literally been like 22 years since we've been together. Yes. My oldest was 3. She's now 25. So it's been a very long time since me and him ever been together, me and him ever tried to get together, or any of that. But guys, I'm going to close this chapter of the book, and I will be back shortly with how we got into the female relationship, because it follows right behind this. Okay, it wasn't no break in between, it just went right into it. So stay tuned for that. I'll be back in a little while. Okay.